All right. Hey, welcome to the Go for CEO channel. And thank you again for coming back to listen to CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, and intrapreneurs inside of companies. And today, this is my first international interview. What an incredible experience. I've been cheating a little bit. Let me give you a little clue. I've been going to Clubhouse, this new app that is incredibly interactive, and really just creating relationships, talking to people, and finding these incredible people that own businesses now around the world. So this app has given me some access to people like Todd Minnis, our interviewee today, and this incredible CEO of Minnis Brands, right out in Northern Ireland. My friend, thank you so much for joining us. And by the way, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a message for Todd. After this interview, you're going to see that this incredible person has built something very strong and really brings a lot of value to the table. So Todd, welcome again to the Go for CEO channel.
Thanks for having me, John. I'm delighted that you've given me this opportunity. Yeah, I'm looking forward to our chat today.
Awesome. Awesome. No, yeah, I've been looking forward to it. And I know we had to schedule out some things. You're 6 hours ahead of us, right? In the US?
Yeah, that's right. So it's 6:45 here now.
Yeah, nighttime. And so Todd's energized himself, probably drank something, Red Bull or something like that, right? To coffee or whatever. But thank you so much for making the time. So a lot of times we like to start at the Go for CEO channel of kind of just the background, a little bit about yourself and how you got to Minnis Brands, the concept, the idea of what you wanted to start. So why don't you go ahead and tell us that little bit of that journey and go ahead and take it away.
It's probably a little less complex than you might think, John, to be honest. And some say that maybe I'm second generation sales agency, but I'm probably third generation if I think about it. My grandfather started many years ago, and he manufactured flies for fishing, and he manufactured darts in a little factory in Donaghadee in Northern Ireland. My grandfather died of bronchitis, and my father was 18 at the time, and so he had to go out and be the breadwinner. He set up this business, which we were a manufacturer's agents or sales agency for a number of international, global, national brands in the sports, fashion, footwear sectors or industries. And Dad set this up, as I say, in 1977. He passed away in November 2019. And I continue to run on the business as he taught me, as he was my mentor. So it was my grandfather, Alfred Minnis, was a manufacturer, and then my father, an agent, and now I'm the third generation, I suppose, of salesman and agent. It hasn't changed that much. My grandfather used to travel the country in a Land Rover and a caravan and all his wares in the back and selling. And I do much the same today. I travel the country and with my wares and have my relationships, build my relationships, and sell my products. So that's probably where the past is to date.
I love it. I love it. Well, look, in America, right, they say the statistic, it might be same around the world, but second generation businesses are like a 78% failure rate, right?
Yeah.
Now to get to the third generation, I mean, you're talking about single digits opportunities to succeed. So what an incredible story. What an incredible way to keep that legacy alive and the Minnis Brands going. And so really, really cool. Thank you for sharing and kind of giving that history. Now, it seems like you grew up, obviously, kind of seeing it from afar. Were you a child that also engaged in a lemonade stand or something entrepreneurial that led you to be ready for this? Or you kind of were just kind of groomed to be a part of the family business?
Well, I think it's probably sales is my passion, whereas the business that my father ran here was all country sports, and that was his passion. Hunting, shooting, fishing. That was his passion. Mine is not so much those country sports. My passion is the sales. That's what I enjoy doing. Whenever as soon as I was able to drive, I was out delivering product or for my father, or trying to sell something to some of his customers. Prior to that, I would just help him out here. I would go with him to see his customers with him. So even at, whenever, before I could drive, when I was a teenager, he was probably mentoring me then. And because I was watching exactly what he was doing, what he was saying, how he was presenting himself. I had all the usual jobs. I worked in shops for part-time jobs. I worked in bars for part-time jobs. But, the actual business here, I learned very much from my father from a very young age.
Neat. And you said, hey, look, my grandfather had one vision but built a brand and built a business. Then my father had another type of vision within it. And now you arrived as a third generation. It seems like you have kind of a little bit different style of what you wanted to pursue. So tell us a little bit about how you start to think about, hey, what it is within Minnis Brands that you wanted to attack. How did you start formulating those ideas? What were some things that did you have conversations before your dad had passed away to say, hey, this is kind of the direction I want to go? Walk us through a little bit of that journey.
Absolutely. I very much had those conversations. My father died of cancer, and he had a period of illness, which wasn't nice. But it was great for me to be able to have that time with him and ask him about the changes that I wanted to make going forward. So we have a partnership business called Robin Minnis Sports. From the 1st of May this year, I'm continuing the business Robin Minnis Sports, but I'm now starting a new business called Minnis Brands Limited. And I'm adding more brands to the business. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
So tell us a little bit about, since you had this idea of kind of a different direction within the brand that you've been able to build as a family, what are some things that you are doing to reach out to maybe these other areas? How are you building relationships? What are some things that you are considering when you bring out that brand within the Minnis Brands conglomerate?
Well, it's simply I'm adding more brands to what we have. I've established brands over the last 25 years. I've established golf brands and equestrian brands, country footwear brands, fashion footwear brands. And just recently negotiated a partnership with another company which has a stable of about 7 brands within the golf sector. So in order to scale my business now, I'm actually looking for a salesperson to come and help me. So that's the first move to sort of scale the business, if you like. I'm also in negotiations with a company to buy into it and take a bigger involvement within it. And if that comes off, I'm in the due diligence stage, so I have to be careful what I say. But if that comes off, then it could increase the size of my business 5 to 10 fold.
Nice. So, well, look, and distribution, right? That's the name of the game, is how can you distribute, what are more brands, the accessibility. So tell us a little bit about kind of the inner workings of that. So if someone doesn't know your level of the industry, what does it really mean to be a brand manufacturer, sales, advisory, right? An agency. What are you doing on a daily basis? Are you B2B more, B2C? How are you kind of developing your marketplace?
I'm B2B, and I have a number of established relationships, but I'm also going out to create new relationships with new customers as well, depending on the brand. I introduced a CRM system recently during the first lockdown. Actually, I introduced a CRM system to the business to continue that communication whilst I wasn't able to get out there and shake their hands and advise my customers. I was able to still communicate with them as to where I was going and what I was doing. As agents, we're sales agents. So it's a commission-only business. So sort of what Sonny said to me was, we reap what we sow. You know, if we're not out there, if we're not selling the product, we're not earning a commission. And that's the motivation, I suppose, of a self-employed sales agent.
Interesting. So I guess the one thing I'd love to share with the community and just understanding, did grandpa, dad, and then have you always had this perspective of kind of that, Robert Kiyosaki talks about, right? Employee is trading hours for dollars, self-employed, you're kind of running your own show, but if something happens to you, it does dwindle down, right? Because you're the only one doing it, business owner and investor. So is there a transition period right now that it seems like you're growing, you're bringing on more brands? Are you also having to figure out, all right, not just my own efforts to grow my business, but how do I bring on scalability and people and attack the marketplace? Like you said, you're looking for a salesperson. Is there any dynamics right now that you've been thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said to you, my father was my mentor, and since he passed, I've employed the services of a number of mentors in helping me buy a business and helping me with my own business, and also I have a spiritual mentor as well. So all of those things are in play in order to keep me on the right path and keep me motivated. And, because I can be distracted with so many things that are different things that are going on at the moment. In terms of your question was with regard to scaling. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to employ somebody at the moment to help me, and I'm looking for somebody to do the same job as I do, if you like, but on more brands.
Nice. And then you would probably start to position yourself as you are, right? The CEO of Minnis Brands, and understanding kind of what you're doing and growing that out. So what are some areas that you start to say, hey, if I do bring on this person and it's the right fit, how could you reposition your day-to-day activities? Do you become more strategic? Do you become more alliances, joint ventures? What are some things that you're thinking about from that positioning?
I'm thinking of, first of all, I've got to get this person up to speed. There's quite a lot whenever you're carrying multiple brands, there's quite a lot to take on. Apart from that, my own role, I still need to manage the brands. I still need to manage the number of customers. I would hope that I would look after the larger accounts if required. But I'm very much that nobody's my boss. I'm nobody's boss. I work with people and hope that they work with me. So.
It's a volunteer army scenario, right? So
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that could be a hard leadership skill, right? To learn. How do you influence someone that really, let's just say you're not technically their boss, but you do work together. You have a vendor network, you have, B2B people that you bring business to and brands. And it's really interesting to have that dynamic. So tell us, what's that?
It's important. Sorry to interrupt you. It's important to find somebody who is self-motivated. This job is all about being self-motivated and being interested in either the product or the skill. So I sell products that I'm not necessarily that interested in, but I can recommend them because I understand the features and the benefits of them and the benefit to the consumer. Sure.
You learn the product and then be able to help guide your B2B people to sell the product to the end user, right? So really interesting. So that's a good transition there. What are some things that you do? It seems like you have a recognition of multiple brands. What are some things that you do to kind of allot time to learn those? Do you have any mechanisms right now, operations wise? Is it like, does your website, I saw a little bit of it, but does it have specific areas that you can kind of guide people to so that you're not always the full transition of knowledge, or how does that work?
I'm fortunate that the industries I work in, there are many professionals within them. And they are the professionals, and I will always treat them as they know more than I do. And with many of the products I sell, they will know more about that product than I do. I never really threw a dart in my life. We used to sell darts here. You know, my customers know more about darts than I do. But as long as I understand the features and the benefits, I can give the customer a service, then I think that works. I sell golf clubs. I can play golf, but I'm not a golfer. I used to ride horses. I don't ride horses anymore. You know, the people I'm selling to, they know better than me. So they are the professionals. I can sell them the features and the benefits which they will understand, and we go from there. And it's all about the relationship as well, and building the relationship and building the confidence in the relationship.
So true, right? And really an advantage for the marketplace, right? When people team up with you and your relationships within Northern Ireland and other areas that you're at, they're really buying you to funnel their products through, right? So that you can all make money, right? So tell us a little bit about like the margin business, right? Meaning when you bring on a representation of a product, what are some of the things that you could do to kind of teach the Go for CEO channel and our community of what that actually means? So there's a golf shirt, a golf club, a dart, as you said. Is there, how much margin can you really kind of dictate? Are you beholden to more the manufacturer side and then going to the B2B side? What's that dynamic like for you?
Well, we've always really held, apart from one or two, we've always held challenger brands. So we've always been in that position where we've been the challenger brand. You know, we sell the benefits of having a challenger brand. Generally, a challenger brand is a little more affordable. Generally, a challenger brand offers a little bit more margin. Generally, a challenger brand company is a little easier to work with. So that's my experience. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's my experience. We work with challenger brands, and that's the market share that we look for.
And just to educate someone, if they don't know, so a challenger brand might be something like a Nike who's well established, and then challenger at the beginning until they became big, like Under Armour, right? When they first came out, they were trying to build the marketplace. They call up Minnis Brands. They're like, Todd, you know, can you help us get into, you know, the 55 connections that you have? Is that what you mean by the challenger brand?
Absolutely, yes. It's that sort of, it's not the Nike, it's the next brand down. It would have been a few years ago, the Under Armour, I suppose, but the Under Armour have come on leaps and bounds. It's not,
they've done pretty good for themselves, right? And it's interesting, right? I mean, you could almost think of like Puma and Adidas and some of these other ones that take a third or fourth or fifth level down as challenger brands now. But even though they have great market presence and at least brand awareness, you could still probably bring them on, right? So, well, really interesting. So again, let us know.
Sorry to interrupt again, but there's no bad product in the world. Yeah. It's just, there can be not as well marketed products in the world.
That is true. And some that are really well marketed maybe aren't even that good. So sometimes it's interesting, right? But sometimes the one that markets the best wins. So tell us a little bit. So we've gone through a little bit of kind of the dynamic of how you became a part of the family-owned business, some of the ways that you're thinking of it to do a little bit different type of business and kind of take it in a different direction. You're also bringing on someone to take on some of the support that you need as far as sales and strategy. Are you guys specifically in Northern Ireland? Do you distribute to other countries as well?
My territory is Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and the Isle of Man. And we have done some work in the UK, England in the past. But the concentration, the focus is all Ireland and the Isle of Man.
I love it. And then do you get exclusivity for that representation, or does it depend on kind of how successful you are that they'll keep you as a sales agency?
Yeah, well, we negotiate a contract, and it generally is an exclusive contract. The only exception is whenever you have the likes of a UK multiple and they have stores on the Irish High Street. That's the exception.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So tell me, I mean, the Go for CEO channel, we're really always looking for that CEO, founder, entrepreneur, that mindset, right? Of what it takes to really build a business. We met on Clubhouse. We kind of connected and I shared with you, hey, come on to the Go for CEO platform and I'd love to share your story. So what are some things that you're doing today that you feel like, hey, 6, 12, 18 months from now, besides obviously bringing on someone to help you on the sales, that you are kind of forecasting in the industry? What are you seeing that may be something that you can kind of share with the community?
Well, communication through my new CRM system is one thing. Taking on more brands, sort of the gloves are off. I'm taking on more brands because the opportunity that this platform gives us, the likes of Teams and Zoom, the opportunity that gives us is that we can communicate with more people more often, and we can communicate with more people. I used to, and I still do. I'm happy to drive to see my customers. We spend so much time as salespeople. We spend so much time driving, and that, to an extent, unless you're on the phone talking to customers, that's downtime. Mm-hmm. Whenever you could be this new platform, this new facility that we use, such as Zoom, gives us an opportunity to sell in a different way.
As they say in the States, I don't know if this is something that they say in Ireland, but they say this ain't your grandfather's business. Meaning, obviously things have changed, right? And you do different things in different ways, right? So really cool, really good to hear. So you're starting to see like, wow, how technology has even changed your industry, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. And I still give my customers a choice. I'll drive to see them. I'll see them on Zoom. I think that it doesn't take away the face-to-face relationship. However, it gives you another vehicle to communicate with your customers.
All right. So tell us a little about, I think we've gone through, again, different layers, different scenarios, where you're thinking the vision is, technology's impacted your business. What are some things operationally? Like, give us a little insight. So when you negotiate a new contract with a competitor brand, right? A challenger brand, you call them. What are some things that you do to help, I guess, navigate that voyage of, do you go out and get the sales of that challenger brand into the B and then have it shipped in? How does that dynamic work?
As I said to you when I first came on, it's probably a little less complex than you think. I'm a glorified salesman. I do all the work in getting the product across the line, getting the account opened, and getting the customer to accept the order. And then fortunate enough that I work with companies who are very efficient. They get the accounts open quickly and they get the product to the customer quickly. And that's the process.
So is it more like a drop shipping type scenario then, or?
Not so much, no, because it's all B2B.
Okay.
So I'm selling to a retail store.
Sure.
I go in, I convince the buyer. I sell from online retail stores, department stores, country stores, golf stores, and I convince the buyer to buy my products. And I send the orders to one of my brands, whoever that might be, and they supply the orders.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And I think that's a big transition, right? A lot of people don't know the game of apparel, shoes, and like you said, darts and golf clubs. We all wonder, how does out here in the States, I know there's a big one like Modelo's just got bought out. They're going almost all online. Dick's Sporting Goods, all these types of places, right? You just wonder, how does that actually work? Who buys from who? How does it go straight to the manufacturer? Those types of things. So it's really cool that you shared that. I really appreciate it. So, as we kind of bring the interview to a climation, right, is just more, we're always looking at like, hey, go for CEO, right? Being driven by mindset. what are two things that you feel, you said that you have a lot of mentors. Obviously your dad was one of them, your grandfather. Nowadays, how are you developing yourself to stay strong mentally, and give us a mindset background of kind of what you've been doing to develop that side?
Well, as I said, yeah, I've got a couple of different mentors. One of those is a spiritual mentor, and she keeps me right, and it helps me. She's teaching me to meditate at the moment.
Okay.
So all of those sort of things are important. The downtime is important. The switch off is important, and she helps me to do that. That's in terms of anything else. I do a bit of cycling, I do a bit of yoga, I do a bit of CrossFit, just to get away from it all if I can.
I know. And last week we talked about, you had some electrical issues, right? The power went down in your area, in your neighborhood. So there's never a dull moment in entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, that's right. And times like that, you just have to take the dog for a walk.
That's right. You just
put your headphones on and listen to a bit of Clubhouse.
That's right. Get some good connections and brands. So awesome. Well, look, as we conclude the interview, the main thing that we kind of always end with is CEO, right? So the C is for client experience, and in a B2B world, it's really interesting. It's as you said before, it's kind of that volunteer army. These people are being shared with, influenced, that they should bring on this challenger brand that you represent. So I'd love to understand, and the community would love to understand, what is it that you do to create a great client experience in your specific business?
Well, the client experience is probably the most important. The customer is king or queen, whoever it might be. Reliability, responsiveness, always responding. I always try and make a recommendation, try and supply a solution. My dad had a thing that I think has resonated with me. He said he had a pet hate, and his pet hate was that making a call, phoning somebody, contacting, communicating with somebody who didn't communicate back. And that was his pet hate, and that's stuck with me to today. So the client experience for me has got to be, if somebody's trying to communicate with me, I've got to get back to them. I've got to try and resolve their issue, whatever it might be, or deliver their order, whatever the issue is.
I love it. That's a mic drop moment, Todd, because ultimately, if you don't have communication and people can't rely on you delivering, either on their question, their pain point, or something like that, it's certainly a big deal, right? So the E in CEO is employee engagement. I know that you kind of work more in a vendor network scenario, but you are bringing on a new salesman shortly. What are you thinking will be how you can engage that person on a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly to keep them engaged within your brand and what they're going to do to represent you?
Well, as you know, it's a family business, and we have been a family business since 1977 here. Anybody who comes here joins the family. I do have part-time people who work with me, and they become part of the family very much. Down to having lunch and having dinner and going for drinks and that type of thing. Anybody who comes here becomes part of the family. Yeah, I'm just trying to think employee engagement. The other thing is that I work with so many different brands. I work with multiple brands and work with people from all walks of life, if you like, and they're all on the other end of a phone, or they all are on the other end of a Zoom, and you don't know somebody's issue from day to day. It's important to have consideration and kindness and understanding. And I think that's my role in terms of employee engagement, in engaging with the employees of the companies that I work for.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, your vendors are a huge deal, and they need to know that you're a good person too, right? And you care about them. I interviewed a good friend of mine that owns a body shop, an automotive repair body shop. And he talked about the people that deliver parts to him and the people that, the vendors and the doors and all these things. it could just be that, hey, you treat them like, hey, I give you business, but technically they're a part of your business, right? And you care about them and you try to find out some things. So it's a really cool interview. So the
Yeah, I
last one
watched
is,
that one.
what's that?
I watched that. I watched that one. I watched
Oh, the
that.
car star. Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and it's really interesting. Just so many things I'm learning from interviewing people. I've owned my own business, but man, interviewing people, interviewing in different industries. I just got off of one just before we did ours, and it's just been amazing to kind of see and why I'm inspired that I think that this channel could do really well to teach so many people around the world in different areas what it really takes to be a CEO, right? And a mindset of it. So last one is operational excellence out of CEO. And, tell us 30 seconds, a minute or so, what are some things that you do to kind of just keep the checks and balances of your operation?
Um, I, I was going to give you one of my spiritual mentors' comments, which is it's called Stira and Sukha. Stira and Sukha, and Stira is strong, steady, and stable, and Sukha is comfortable, happy, and relaxed. So it's ease and steadfastness. It's excellence, but without the tension. And with the companies that I work with and the brands that I work with over time, the people that I work with, they expect a level of service. They have to know that the salesman they're sending out on the road, they can rely, because I'm representing those companies. I'm representing them as much as I'm representing myself. I'm representing those brands in this region.
I love it.
So operational excellence is key.
Well, what an incredible way to really kind of just lay the foundation of what you've done, what your family has been able to do for multiple generations or multiple decades. Really cool to have you on. I'm excited. It's my first international interview. So thank you for that privilege, Todd. So what's one of the ways that you would find Todd Minnis and Minnis Brands and what you're doing? How could people communicate with you?
Well, I have my own website, which is, can I say it?
Yeah, please.
www.minnisbrands.com. And I'm simply Todd at minnisbrands.com. And I would welcome any communication. I'd be delighted to welcome you, John, whenever the planes fly again and whenever we're allowed to meet and shake hands. I'd be delighted to buy you a beer here in Ireland.
Oh man, I can't wait. That sounds really cool. It's one of my, I guess, joys in life is I've been to quite a few countries. I'm actually background of Colombian and Puerto Rican, but South America, Central America, Europe, and it's so cool to meet and be around different ways of kind of what their culture is and everything. So I'll definitely bring you up on that, make sure that we can try to attempt that. And if you're in the States as well, right, in Chicagoland area, let's make sure. So hey, thank you so much, Todd, for the opportunity. Minnis Brands, as he said, www.minnis, right? Correct. Brands, brands.com. So reach out to Todd, figure out, is there some ways that you guys can do business? Leave a comment in the comment section or on our iTunes, leave a review and share with Todd what you picked up from this great interview. And 6 months from now or 8 months from now, we're going to try to get Todd back on, figure out, hey, did he get that salesperson? Is he starting to grow on that side? What is he doing? What's the next venture? What are some new brands that are coming out? So we're excited to have you, Todd. And thank you so much for the opportunity to come on to the Go for CEO channel. So any parting words?
No, just delighted with the opportunity you presented, John, and I'm really glad that you reached out to me and asked me and gave me this opportunity to speak with you.
Well, there's so many small to medium-sized businesses out there in the world, right? I was being selfish, probably thinking of only the United States because there's 27 million small businesses, but I have a lot of people to interview. But when you think about the world and capitalism and entrepreneurship and just that CEO mindset and just driving yourself and learning, as you said, you've got some balances of what you do. You you empower some coaches to teach you of that yin and yang scenario. So excited for you, excited to be connected with you, and looking forward to seeing you in about 6 months on our Go for CEO channel. Okay, Todd?
Yeah, great. Thank you, John.
All right, my friend. Thank you.